Hello, this is Matt Bergman, and you're listening to the Punk Rock Libertarians Podcast, episode 76. Tonight, I'm here with Alexis Schlegel.
Hello, Matt.
Jared Snyderman.
Hey, man.
And a newcomer to the podcast, Marcus Albert.
What up?
Oh, and also, how could I ever forget Josh Stavolophagus?
I still fucking hate you, man.
Anyways, enough with you. So tonight, there's it's 9/11 today. There's a lot to talk about. Hillary collapsed earlier.
Reptile. Yeah, reports are that she is suffering from pneumonia. Although there's speculation that might not be the complete truth. Josh, what did you hear about that?
Well, I honestly think that the sun was a little hotter than the heat lamp she's used to, so she just thought it was a good idea to shed the human suit and, shapeshift back into the reptile that she is. That's what I originally thought was the plan.
Reptile wins.
And I heard somebody speculate, it might have been speculation, saying based on the symptoms and how erratic her behavior is, given all of the occurrences of her being really bizarre, that she's having congestive heart failure. I think she has some type of weird neurological disorder because the woman looks like she has seizures.
Yeah, that one video is pretty crazy looking, where she's just like, her head's just like flipping around. I mean, they played it off like she was like, the excuse I heard was that a bunch of people were asking her like questions, like surrounding her, and she was like doing like just a flip, like, oh, I'm just so overwhelmed, like jokingly. But no. It just seems like all the evidence keeps stacking up that she is legitimately sick. I mean, you have this collapsing scenario, you have like the coughing, like the fucking 10-minute coughing fit at her speech like last week, and then like the picture of her getting like helped upstairs.
Yeah, that's she's probably had pneumonia for a long time, and she's just probably been pushing through, but that you don't recover from easily.
Yeah.
Somebody that's 20, 30 years old takes a week to recover from that full time. Like, you're not going anywhere.
No. I mean, does anybody notice that, or anybody hear that Henry Kissinger did not endorse Hillary Clinton? They asked him who would he be endorsing the
I was waiting. I was waiting for Kissinger's endorsement.
Yeah, I know. I've been waiting anxiously to see.
Really?
Like,
I mean, I figured.
But
is she not enough of a war hawk? I mean,
I don't know, but that's weird because they're really, really, really good friends, and he's not endorsing. So I find it a little strange that Kissinger, who has ties to like the Bilderberg group and all those other like weird shadowy shit, yeah. Maybe she's starting to get sicker and sicker and sicker. It doesn't seem like the bigwigs are coming out to throw behind her this time.
Well, when they ask him that,
I saw something on like, it was one of those constantly re-embedded links, like because apparently they didn't want it to get published or something like that. I don't know. They didn't want it to spread around as fast. It was a weird article, but to me, like somebody had asked, which candidate will you be supporting this election, and he said. Because he's a Democrat, and he says, I will not be endorsing the Democratic candidate as president. Like, that's a big deal, I think.
Yeah, so you think he just has some knowledge that we don't, and that's why?
I mean, that's sort of like a joke that I think of him. Like, if it was the shadowy government, that the really evil shadowy government was true, that this would be their ultimate move. They're going to kill off the candidate now.
And then what do they do in its place?
They're already saying the DNC is looking for a new candidate. It says they're having an emergency meeting of the Democratic National
there was one
Committee.
I couldn't find an article that said that, but I did see that tweet from the guy who he was like
Schumer or something.
Something Schuster, and he's like been a reporter for MSNBC and for
Fox and CNN.
Yeah, so I mean, he's not just like some right wing, super right wing.
I have some knowledge. It's Alex Jones. I'm here to tell you right now. I got
it. It doesn't sound crazy,
but it is funny how like
the
Alex Jones crew has been hammering on the fact that Hillary is sick. So like all the like the Hillary supporters are just like left wing people.
Yeah.
Are all anytime you mention like Hillary might be sick, they're like, oh, you're just a crazy fringe.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
Trump's been saying the same thing too, not to support him.
But I mean, clearly there is evidence of this, and now we know for sure that she is sick because they've actually admitted it. So,
I mean, it does give Alex Jones the legitimacy finally because
well,
it's always introduced as anybody. If Alex Jones says it, it can't be true. It's crazy. It's a conspiracy.
Well,
Alex Jones
what happens when they're fucking
her
true?
reptilian skin.
I think he might actually believe that though, like literally believe that.
I don't think Alex Jones really believes this shit.
I don't think
know.
he does
I think
either.
he's all about looking for numbers, man.
yeah, he just wants clicks, and he wants.
He's
That's why he did that whole like thing with. Do you see the Young Turks video, Mark?
No.
Where so like they were at the I think it was the DNC.
No, it was RNC.
Was it the
Either
RNC?
way.
Anyways, they were doing like in the media room. They would put every news organization put on their little show, and then like in the middle of the Young Turks set, Alex Jones comes barging in, and like he's wearing like this like it just has a picture of Bill Clinton. It says like rape on it, and like he just comes barging in and just like interrupts the show, and they get into this like fucking fight, and it's like super crazy.
Dude, Alex Jones is grinning from ear to ear, and Cenk from the Young Turks is just like fucking just going nuts, like WWF style. And meanwhile, Alex Jones is just laughing his fucking ass off.
Yeah,
it's free publicity. And
Yeah. I mean, Alex Jones isn't going to lose any fans over this, but Cenk, I'm sure, lost like a whole bunch of supporters.
Do you really think he lost supporters?
Probably not. Probably not. The people that watch that show aren't going to.
Why was a female feminist reporter who basically like?
Oh yeah, she called. So like, there's like this feminist like SJW type.
Like
reporter. What's her
warrior.
fucking name?
Fuck her, whatever.
It doesn't matter.
Let's not even give her the comment.
On what show?
On the Young Turks.
Anna Kasparian.
Anna Kasparian. And she called him like a fat fuck. She called him like a fat fuck.
On this podcast?
So then the next day, people were coming out with articles saying Anna Kasparian fat shaming. And it was like perfect.
That was hilarious.
It was perfect shade and fraud, dude. It was so good. Oh man. So yeah. So they're saying they might have like a replacement candidate. Who would their replacement candidate be? Is someone out front? You guys all right?
Yeah. Let's cut a pause and see why there's like a fire engine or something out front.
Okay, we'll be back in a moment.
We'll be right back, but it'll only be like a split second for you guys, so don't worry about it. Okay, so we went outside because we saw some flashy lights and we wanted to see what was going on, and then so we get out there and it's just an ambulance driving up the street. We don't know where it went.
Call an ambulance.
We don't know where it went, but then while we were out there, a couple guys were like, "Let's smoke a cigarette." So we're chilling out there, and Alex coincidentally brought over some dry ice tonight. Alexis did, and so then he takes this dry ice and he starts just fucking around with it. He puts it in the cooler on my porch, and then we start getting all this dry ice fog coming out of it, and then he gets the idea to grab an empty 2-liter bottle of soda. And so he puts a bunch of dry ice in there, and then he puts a bunch of water in there, and then he sticks the lid on it, and then he throws it out in the street. So we're waiting for it, and then
this was near his car, not any other car.
So then we're waiting for it. It starts shaking and looking all crazy and shit. And then we hear this big boom. It sounded like a potato gun went off. What do you think? That's the closest thing I can compare it to.
It was a gunshot.
That was as loud as a gunshot.
I know. Have you heard of a potato gun?
That was like a rifle shot. It wasn't even like a handgun.
It wasn't like a handgun.
That was
like a 30-06 going off in the street.
I thought it was more like a boom, like a shotgun or a potato gun.
What potato gun do you use that makes that
noise?
This
this was like the Kennedy assassination outside.
I mean, but it wasn't really like a rifle. It was more like a shotgun. It was a boom.
All right, well, this is...
Yeah. So anyways...
Besides effect.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking loud. So yeah, that was pretty fun.
I apologize in advance. I didn't think it'd be that loud, but...
You didn't apologize in advance. You apologized
well after the move.
I didn't realize it'd be that bad, but it was pretty...
It's apologizing in advance of the other things he'll do later.
It's like all the neighbors' dogs started going ape shit.
So yeah, we were being some real anarchists out there.
Yeah, we were doing some
we were like Ancoms out there.
Oh jeez.
Well, we didn't destroy anything besides my own property.
True.
That's true.
Yeah, so
So it's all
And,
good.
and
Okay.
I picked up the remnants and recycled it.
okay, so
we help the
That
environment.
actually is important, but also
And we're all wearing like matching shirts like the Warriors.
okay, so
Come out and play. Yay.
all right, so back to Hillary. Okay, so apparently the rumor is the DNC is talking about supposedly there's talk of getting another candidate to replace Hillary.
Yeah. So who do you guys think that would be?
And my guess is the Burnmeister.
Maybe.
Or maybe Elizabeth Warren.
I mean, that would.
I mean,
God.
I would think
how
that would
can
be
you
the
pick
best
a candidate?
move.
Yeah, I would think so. It's the most fair, you know.
Yeah. Or I could see them just like bumping Tim Kaine up. And
Yeah,
then maybe,
actually, we
and then maybe making Bernie his VP or
I mean,
something like
would
that.
that really be fair to the voters to
Do
pick
they
somebody?
care about that?
well, you know what
I mean,
though?
who knows?
I don't think these partisan
you know
hacks
what? You know
give
what?
a fuck.
But
right?
that's a good question because
You
you have
know-
a whole bunch of his supporters saying, you know what? Fuck it, he's the vice president. He's at least the vice president. That's the best we're ever gonna get. Or they're gonna be the real people who are supporting him. They're like, you know what? No, make him the nominee.
Yeah, I mean, it all
It could
depends
split
on
the
which
camp again.
Yeah, because there's those supporters that now are actually sticking to their guns and are like, we're not going to vote for anybody unless it's Bernie. So they're just not going to vote, or they're going to vote, or that's what they're
a lot
saying.
of those people went to Gary Johnson as well.
Yeah, some of those people went to Gary Johnson,
I
but
think
those people may, if he was to get back on the ticket, jump
Pull-
back onto him. But
I think if that happens, if he gets back on the ticket, Jill Stein's dead in the water. She's absolutely dead in the water.
She's
I think
already
all
dead
of
in
her,
the water.
But I think any of that, like what 6% that support her, will be up, and then I think it can go one or two ways. It'll go back to Bernie, or it could be like a battleground to decide, hey, you know what? Maybe this libertarian candidate is better. I mean, look how much happier everybody is that decided to pick him.
yeah,
Hmm.
who knows, man?
It could create new libertarians or make old Democrats.
But I mean, if she doesn't drop out, which I don't
I
see
think
how
she'd have-
she's gonna even like make it.
I think she'd have to die before she drop out. I think that she's that evil of a person that she will not let it go.
Well, if they don't pick her or whatever it is, or if they don't pick someone else, like I see a lot of people like throwing their support either behind Trump or behind Gary Johnson, maybe splitting that support to them. But I think it would really hurt her chances. I mean, nobody wants to think about like, oh, what we have a president who could potentially like die.
Before they get in the office?
Yeah, or in office if she
I
doesn't
mean-
beforehand.
I really think that a lot of the Democrats, though, they're just anti-Trump in a lot of ways. They don't think Gary Johnson can win or Jill Stein or anybody, so they're just anti-Trump because they're just so disgusted by him. So I don't even know. It could be Tim Kaine, and it wouldn't even matter to a lot of that demographic.
Yeah, you could
As
probably
long as it
literally
wasn't
put
the guy that's anti their entire minority section.
right. I mean, they could literally put anybody in there, and people would still probably vote for them over Trump. I mean, it can't really get much worse than Hillary, right? I mean, you can't really find a worse candidate for the Democratic position unless it was like
Just Bill Roundtree.
Trump's like evil twin who just happened to be a Democrat.
It's Trump with a vagina is basically all she is, or you know,
Well, in reality, yeah, but
or
not
Trump is Hillary with a dick. I mean, you can argue the same way. They're the exact same people.
right.
I mean, and she's called herself a Goldwater girl, which means by definition she's not really a Democrat. She's a neocon. She's even worse. She's everything that both parties supposedly hate.
Right.
I mean, libertarians, I mean, everybody. I don't think anybody likes neocons.
Not
They've
anymore.
completely-
It's kind of gone out of fashion.
Yeah, and she's completely isolated herself. But nobody wants to bring that up. But it's like Bernie Sanders running as a Democrat. He's always been independent. He's never a fucking Democrat. She's not really a Democrat either.
What is a Democrat?
What's a Republican?
I mean, it used to be. You know what?
No.
You know what a Democrat used to be? Somebody that pretty much was Jeffersonian. Remember that?
Yeah, well, that was the original.
Yeah. I mean,
But like,
that would be cool.
They kind of flip-flopped in, the 20s, 30s? Something like
And it was civil rights movement. That's when the parties really flipped.
right. Okay. Any other points on that matter? You got
No.
anything, Bergman? All right. So, also before this news broke, the big news was Gary Johnson's little gaffe. During an interview, he was asked about Aleppo and responded with, "What is Aleppo?"
Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah, which is a city in Syria, which is, of course, important to know about. But, so the media blew it, just the first time they were ever talking about Gary Johnson, really. And so they took this story and ran with it and made him just look like he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's misinformed or ill-informed on geopolitics. And, it wasn't a good look. No,
it really wasn't. It really wasn't. But some good things did happen because of it.
Yeah, people were actually heard about Gary Johnson for the first time.
Yeah. Some people didn't have such a negative reaction to it. They actually thought it was great that he didn't make up an excuse and act like he knew. He simply said, "What is it?"
Right.
Like, that's technically having to ask what something is when you're supposed to be giving an interview is pretty embarrassing. I mean, it couldn't be in a lot of cases, especially that. But he was honest, so I think people are very happy with that. Wait, an honest candidate? Somebody who actually admits when they don't know something? What the hell is this?
Yeah.
They've demonized honesty with stupidity. It's nothing a briefing can't fix. I mean, by the way, in case you forgot what Aleppo is, or have to deal with that guy's weird accent. What would you do about Aleppo? Like, he would, if you listen to the way he would say it, it was very weird. He had a very strange accent to begin with. He didn't say Aleppo. He said Aleppo. And it was a weird. Nobody knew what he was saying at first. I was confused.
Yeah, that and the fact that, like, why would you even say? It's not that. I mean, yes, Aleppo's a major city, but it's not like it's the whole.
What are you going to do about the Syrian war?
Yeah,
exactly.
What are you going to do about the Syrian migration issue? Why would you say Aleppo unless you were trying to just catch him on?
It was a gotcha. It was a total gotcha perpetrated
any
by
other
the
candidate, they would say, "What would you do about the humanitarian crisis right now with refugees in Syria?"
Yeah,
they would have asked anybody else a more direct question.
It was a clearly like a got you question,
Yeah, and I mean they did get him, but it's still like that's not.
Well, I mean,
that's not. It's not a.
You know what? You know what's crazy? If you ask 99% of Americans, they say, "Hey, what is Mosul?"
They don't know 99% of Americans where the fuck the Middle East is on a map. They wouldn't even,
But the media,
let alone Syria, let alone like a city within Syria. Like, Jesus H. Christ.
And the thing is, though, you know what? Yeah, it was when I watched that, dude, I was like, "Oh shit, that's it. This is over." But then, when I really thought about it, it might not be over. I don't think that. I think he showed an actual human side to him. That what he's. That's why I don't think in essence he really isn't a complete libertarian. But he's the average, like, positive thinking American, the one who just is happy to just live his own life and be left alone. Like, he's the everyman. I don't think he's the ideal libertarian. I think he's just the ideal everyman. Every man has to admit when they're wrong. Well, what is that? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And, like, what was even better was after the fact when they asked about it, he admitted, like, he didn't really backpedal. He wasn't like, "Oh, well, I just didn't hear them correctly," or, I mean, he did say, like, he was sort of, it kind of caught him off guard, and he thought it was an acronym, but
he admitted something. He admitted that he was incorrect right off the bat.
He admitted he was correct, and he was like, and it's, I forget the exact word he used, but he's basically like, it's unacceptable. Like, it's unacceptable for me to not know that, and then he, like, kind of talked about Syria a little bit, and then I don't know. It just seemed like a very genuine, like, I'm not a politician just trying to cover my ass.
Absolutely, but he also the big thing was he said, "I never would have gotten into that situation in the first place." Once it was clarified what we're talking about. Oh, I thought it was an acronym. My bad. We weren't even talking about this, and you just said some random city. Get it? Now he's on topic, and he said, "I never would have been there in the first place." And he tried to overcome it, but they focused on, him not recognizing what it was for 2 seconds. That's absolutely, like the biggest problem with a lot of the modern media interviews for somebody that's not the major two candidates.
But it's almost like, I think we're at the point now where it's like, if the media talks bad about you, it's almost a positive for you.
Well, I mean, essentially, especially if they're not talking about you to begin with, what this turned into was free publicity for Gary Johnson,
Right.
Because
He went up 3 points actually.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
exactly. He's been
Really?
going up in the polls,
He
and
went up
like
almost 3
since the
points.
Aleppo. It's like people are researching him, and I think people see how ridiculous it is, and I think libertarians are doing a great job of pointing out how ridiculous the whole thing is. And, maybe your average person is a little more honest and say, I never heard of Aleppo either. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, at any rate, by whatever, he's actually went up in the polls since the whole Aleppo thing. So that was a mainstream media backfire, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
I think more and more people are just so. I mean, the mainstream media, let's face it, amongst our generation, it's irrelevant, I mean, it really is. I mean, dude, and let's be honest. Does anybody under the age of, 45 and under give a fuck about what, some mainstream media interview on MSNBC or NBC or CBS or ABC? It doesn't fucking matter because it's just, we saw, the bias of the media through, the Ron Paul campaign. And then you have someone like
Yeah,
Bernie,
dude, if it's not
look
InfoWars,
what
I don't
they
touch
did to
it.
Bernie. It's just like
The funniest thing is, though, when we were complaining about it, nobody noticed. But when it happened to Bernie, everybody did.
right.
Oh, wait, it's happened to a Democrat? It's like, wait, no, so you don't believe that it can happen to conservatives or anybody who... Because libertarians, we're considered a little more conservative, obviously. I mean,
I don't even know. I don't even like to take the label as conservative because, I'm not trying to fucking conserve any part of the system that we have,
It's just anybody who's going against the
I'm
system
trying
is
to
going to be vilified.
progress into more freedom. I am the most liberal person you'll ever meet in that I'm liberal, I am allowing, I am tolerant. I'm do whatever the fuck you want as long as you don't hurt other people. I don't really think that's conservative.
Yeah, this whole idea of...
I don't trust the liberal media.
I mean,
when I'm saying that because majority of people, after seeing Ron Paul, who the libertarians were very, very happy with, majority of libertarians that I know were Ron Paul people, we all were registered Republicans at that point to try to, to get Ron Paul into the, so we can get him to win a state.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually still registered Republican.
Dude, I've been getting some awesome Trump shit in the mail.
Oh, yeah, dude, you were supposed to bring one of those over so we could read it.
Alex, you have to do the same thing that you did with every time the Mitt Romney campaign would mail you shit, you would write Ron Paul, put Ron Paul stickers all over it, campaign for Liberty stamps, and put return to sender.
Yeah, that's what I did the last time when I was getting Mitt Romney shit. I just put a bunch of Ron Paul stickers and send it back to sender on their dime. But I got some Trump shit in the mail. It was just, I didn't even get a chance
Did you get one of
to
those
read
sweet
it.
hats?
No, but
You should request that. They
if
probably
I
send it to
can
you.
get a free hat, or almost maybe want to take the time to fill out their propaganda.
Yeah.
Just respond, just for shits and giggles. But yeah, that's the only drawback. Still being registered Republican post Ron Paul. I guess maybe I need to switch that shit real quick back, to libertarian or.
Yeah, I switched. I switched pretty immediately upon the end of the last election.
If you switch, do you think they still take you off their mailing list?
Yeah, I don't get
yeah.
anything. I don't get anything from the Republicans.
I don't get anything either, though. It's who I do get stuff from. I got stuff.
I get emails.
I got stuff from Rand.
Yeah, I get emails from Rand.
And I think after Rand dropped out, I ended up getting an email from Ted Cruz. He might have shared his email list with Ted Cruz after he dropped out.
Yeah. Well,
It was
I mean, the thing is, it's
That'd be
let's face
shitty.
it. Republican Party, they're fucking stupid, and the Ron Paul campaign at least was far better at outreach and hurting the cats. You know what I mean?
It was all grassroots too.
Oh yeah, Ron Paul was able to. I mean, that's the hardest part about organizing libertarians is just hurting cats. But that campaign was able to reach out to all demographics of libertarianism.
Yeah,
Well, that's because
it was so principled.
The only negative thing you could really say about Ron Paul from a libertarian standpoint
was that he's a politician.
was that he's a politician. That was the only thing. But it's I mean, he's got to be a politician.
He was a principled politician. He was Dr. No.
Yeah, but so I think that's why he was more successful than Gary Johnson at that specific task, because Gary Johnson is definitely not a principled libertarian. And there's there's a number of reasons that any principled anarchist or libertarian could say, no, I'm not going to support him. He's not. Whereas with Ron Paul, the only thing you could say is, well, he's a politician, and I can't be a part of that.
I mean, Ron, there was that interview. I think we mentioned this the last time. The interview where there's people interviewing on their van or whatever.
Motorhome Diaries.
Yeah, Motorhome Diaries, where they interview him, and he basically comes out as an anarchist. Like, he advocates for anarchism,
So he says, self-governance, right?
Yeah, he doesn't really come out as an anarchist. He's basically he's just
something
telling
like the
people
ultimate
when to
goal,
live their own.
is,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's definitely an anarchist.
Ron Paul?
Yeah.
He's got to be, dude.
I mean, I think he's got a bunch of friends who are openly anarchist. I think he's friendly to the idea, and I think Ron Paul's friends that are anarchists, once they're not violent anarchists, they believe in property rights, But do I think Ron Paul's an anarchist? I don't know. I mean, I think he's friendly to the idea. Some of his best friends definitely are.
But I've never seen him be hostile. I've never seen him be hostile to the idea. We need a little bit of government. I've never heard him say anything like that.
Yeah.
He's only ever said negative things about government. He's never been well, we need them for the roads. Shit like that. He's never said that.
Well, yeah, he doesn't bring out the roads. But, I mean, I've never seen him say that he's an anarchist.
Yeah, fair enough. But that's just political, I imagine.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, at this point, he's not doing politics anymore. Maybe he wants to save face for Rand. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be it.
There was a whole thing about him endorsing his son. I don't think he ever really endorsed his son as candidate. He didn't.
Did he?
I don't think he did, which is kind of shocking in a way, but it still shows that Ron Paul was principled enough to say, you know what, son, I love you, but I disagree with you, so I can't endorse you to be the leader of my country. That's got to be it. I don't think he did endorse his own son, which is insane.
He definitely campaigned for him in the last, before he bowed out of the campaign.
It was kind of Rand didn't make it that far either.
But Rand started
I've been thinking some theories here. Let me throw this out there.
I hope you have documents for these theories, dude.
I don't know. I got the dots, but here's
Mao
the
got the guns. Everybody has the guns.
So you have just recently in this past week, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger coming out advocating that he wants to see Gary Johnson in debates, and then you've heard the interviews months ago
Alex Jones
where Mitt Romney was yeah, I'd really like to see Gary Johnson in the debates, and so anyways, what I'm getting at is the fact that I think towards the tail end of the Ron Paul 2012, maybe behind closed doors, Ron Paul might have been look, I can't get the nomination. Rand Paul, that's my son. He's setting himself up for 2016. Yeah, he'll endorse you, Mitt Romney. I'm just going to stay the fuck out of this. I'll give you my donor list. I'll give you, you know what I'm saying? Kind of setting the stage for that. Where I feel as though now you have Mitt Romney coming out and supporting someone like Gary Johnson, I really think, behind closed doors throughout that whole campaign, there was never Rand or Ron Paul went after certain individuals in the Republican Party, but he never went out of his way to go after Mitt Romney. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking maybe this was I don't know how Mitt Romney's coming out supporting Gary Johnson.
There's no way all this was connected.
Are you saying that Mitt Romney might have been the Ron Paul of the Republican Party?
No. Where maybe he was
the happy middle ground.
Where maybe Ron Paul behind closed doors and where Rand Paul gave him the endorsement. That basically between the two, they were kind of all right, this guy's empathetic towards libertarian views, and and now he's post politics. He's done with the shit. He's out. And now he's more free to speak his mind. He's kind of no, I might be coming around to these ideals. I don't know. I'm just saying from the fact that, Mitt Romney is coming out, I'd like to see Gary Johnson debates. Where, a lot of libertarians are what the fuck? Mitt Romney supporting libertarian? This is bullshit. It's no, maybe it's not. Maybe maybe there's something behind all this. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I definitely think that a lot of politicians are never Trump, and the ones that are backing Trump are ones that are pressured politically. They think they might see a good windfall out of it, but I think every single Republican from middle of the road over to hardcore neocon is anti-Trump, because he's so outsider that they don't it's too wild card for them. They want somebody on their team. They don't want somebody that's gonna do some crazy shit.
All right. I mean, it just came to me earlier this week, that they're, I don't know, maybe there was something, I don't know, that maybe let's give these individuals a benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're coming around to these ideals and principles.
And behind closed doors, probably a lot of them are open to a lot of those principles, but they're too wrapped up in the politics of it, the money of it, what they can do for themselves. But I really, really believe that that it could be, maybe not for Mitt, maybe not for Arnold, whoever, but for some of them, they're going to push for Gary Johnson because they just want to see anything against Trump. You've got some of the most crazy neocons that are like, well, I'm done with politics for years now. That's what? Who does that?
Yeah.
Ever? When has that ever happened with arch neocons? It's just bizarre.
I don't know. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I was just something I thought about. Maybe people are coming around more to the ideals and principles, and maybe individuals like Ron Paul, through the system, was maybe reaching out to these individuals, and maybe, I don't know.
That's a very optimistic viewpoint, I believe, and maybe it could be, where they, maybe it's politically advantageous.
Well,
so now they're willing to have that conversation that wouldn't have been good for them before.
A lot of these people said the same thing about Ron Paul as they did about Bernie Sanders. It's even the ones, but Democrats, a lot of Democrats and Republicans alike said, we don't support Ron Paul, we don't support Bernie Sanders, because we don't believe in their viewpoints. But if there's one thing I can say is that they're honest and principled, and they don't change. No one's ever had a nasty thing to say about Ron Paul. People try to say really nasty things about Bernie Sanders' character, but even though philosophically I don't believe in almost anything that he says, especially when it comes to economics, he's honest. It's a thing. You have to respect the honesty of it.
He's been saying the same stuff for 20, 30 years.
Exactly.
You can't. It's hard to argue with that aspect of it.
Yeah. That would be a really interesting type of debate, like Ron Paul versus Bernie Sanders. Can you imagine that? They're the be all end alls for a lot of people. Seriously, that's a heavy battle right there.
Word.
All right, so today was, well, it technically wasn't the first day, but the first major day of NFL football.
Football, motherfuckers.
Fantasy team's doing all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might be able to pull out a win in one of the leagues.
I'm just in one league. You playing multiple leagues?
I'm doing 2 this year. I had to trim it down from 4. I was getting a little retarded.
I do one league.
Jesus Christ,
do.
It was a little much. But
You're a gambling
so,
addict.
A little bit. Yeah. Apparently today, so I mean, we've talked about Kaepernick before on this podcast. I think it was last week.
What about this guy? I haven't heard anything about it.
Have you not heard anything about it?
Is he? No, I'm just fucking around.
Copernicus?
Well aware.
Yeah, so there were a whole bunch more people that knelt. So I guess we can talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, what do you want to talk about?
I'm sick and tired of going to sports and any baseball game or football game and shit's turned into nationalistic propaganda.
Yeah, the fact that there's they trot out some sort of military people.
No, I'm fucking sick of that shit.
And we have to do God Bless America, and it's
national anthem.
Okay, I get it if you wanna. I get it. Today was 9/11, so I mean I get bringing out firefighters and I think they brought out first responders. All right, I can get behind that.
Yeah, it's
but it's every game I go to, regardless of like its level of importance, there's always some sort of like military, like honoring the military shit.
Yeah.
And then there's like they'll take like the fucking American flag and like spread it out over the field, and you're just like, dude, what the fuck? I just want to watch
and like that,
some people fucking tackle each other and like throw a ball around. I don't need to be propagandized.
And not to mention like millions of dollars in taxpayer dollars that go to the Pentagon are given to the NFL teams to do their like pregame bullshit ceremonies. I mean, you know, like you have fighter jets flying over, and that costs, you know, to launch planes is, you know, thousands upon thousands of dollars.
You know what? I never thought about that.
You know?
I never thought about the tax dollar the wasted money.
Oh yeah,
The tax dollars that we spend, or that is stolen from us,
right?
Get sent to pay for planes to drive around, going, "Oh, America!"
To basically fly over and like, Bubis America, like, "Right, look at those planes, America, fuck yeah!" It's like, no, you're like,
there's better places to spend that money.
No, and a lot of
They had like, dude, they had like a stuffed bomber. They had a stuffed bomber fly over one of the stadiums today.
Yeah, it's
like, dude, how much does it cost to get that thing like up and running and like get all systems going? That shit.
Like, I mean,
what do you think, Mark? You were in the military too.
The cost to put any airplane in the air is close to $10,000.
Oh, yeah,
so some of the big, you know, the like the F-18s, that's the Blue Angels. You know, that's $25,000 an hour per plane or something like that. Per plane.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Insane. and you know, besides all the preparation and everything for that, and the money, I'm sure they make money back on their air shows and whatever, but it's not gonna cost. They're not pulling in $25,000 an hour money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to also be fair, we don't know if like the NFL isn't paying for it.
Oh no, well they definitely do. Like, but they're using taxpayer dollars. Like, you know, and not only that, but their stadiums are publicly funded.
Yeah, that's true too.
You know, it's fucking bullshit.
You know,
and not only that, but the NFL is a nonprofit.
What about if they stopped doing the national anthem and each state had to have like a state thing? A state ceremony, because if you think about it, it makes a little more sense then, doesn't
it?
Like
a state anthem?
Yeah. What about something like, I mean, would that make sense then? It wouldn't be nationalistic. You'd have.
Why can't we just have a fight? Each team has their own fight song, which they do already for the some of them.
Or
do.
that, like instead of that, like have a ceremony where you get the hometown fans like pumped up or whatever.
Yeah. I would like to do a little bit of research and figure out like when they started doing the national anthem at fucking sporting events.
Well, I read a really good article on Reason, and I posted, and it was like a week and a half ago, and it was just all about the whole falling out with, you know, Colin Kaepernick deciding not to stand. And, you know, it just really, you know, ever since 9/11, 2001, every sporting event you go to is just turned into like this militaristic, nationalistic ritual, and it's like, god damn it, I just want to watch fucking sports right now, you know? And I think, and I was thinking about this, and it was a couple years ago, and my friend Jonathan, he worked on Ron Paul's campaign. He was in the Navy. You know, I'm a veteran. He was a veteran. And at the time, he was living in D.C., and we're sitting there, we're at a Nationals Phillies game, and at like the third inning, they're like, please welcome our local hometown hero who's home from deployment, or, you know, on leave from deployment. And like, I haven't seen Jonathan in like months, you know, like we're just hanging out, shooting the shit. We're like, hey, drinking some beers, watching some baseball, whatever. We didn't really understand like what the fuck was going on, nor did I give a fuck. You know what I mean? It's just like, I just want to watch some baseball. And there was like some douche nozzles in front of us, and this was in DC at the National Stadium. These douchebags turn around and are all like, you don't support the troops? Why don't you stand up and clap? And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, I just looked at these, I was like, yo, fuck you. Like, I did 8 years in the Air Force. My friend Jonathan did 6. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, I'm not standing up for this fucking douche magoosh who's home on leave. I don't give a fuck right now. Like, really?
If you were you understand that this is not a big fucking deal.
Right, exactly. Yeah, dude. Like, this dude is just like, he doesn't give a fuck if we stand or don't stand. He's just like, fuck yeah, I'm home and I got free tickets to a baseball game.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah.
I get free food out of this? Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, exactly. all these 90% of veterans be like, I don't give a fuck. Like, cool. Like, They don't have this like mindset.
Hey,
like,
welcome home. I've been home. Let me enjoy it already.
Right? They don't give a fuck. They're not.
Good. Welcome back. Now you can fuck whoever the hell girl
like
thinks you're
such a
cute in your fucking uniform.
Yeah, it's such a disconnect between your average Americans where they're like so wrapped up, and it's been like fed to them like nonstop via the media and public events and everything.
For the last 15 years at least.
Since 9/11. I'm fucking sick of it. It's like, I just want to go to fucking the Orioles game. I want to go to a Phillies game. I want to go to an Eagles game. I want to go to, I just don't want to be fucking subjected to fucking propaganda. I'm fucking tired of it. So if Colin Kaepernick doesn't want to stand for the goddamn national anthem, I don't give a fuck.
Tell us how you really feel.
Like, seriously. It's like, there were so many things that transpired in the news, and they're so fixated on an NFL player. Like, no, who fucking cares because he didn't stand for the special song? It's like, as a veteran, guess what? I support him, and I support more people to find their way to the bathrooms or still tailgating or drinking beers before they enter a stadium, before they enter into these like nationalistic fucking rituals. Mindless, fucking mindless, like a bunch of mindless drones. Just, put your hand over your heart, stand, take your hat off. No, fuck that. I'm tired of it. I'm fucking tired of it.
If they wanted to do it like, I don't know, the 4th of July, that would make sense. If they wanted to have the one ceremony a year where you knew it would be like the 4th of July, they celebrate, and let's let everybody just be themselves for the rest of the time. Only like, okay, you know what? A horrible thing, I'm from New York, so 9/11 happens in New York. Every 9/11, maybe they want to have a ceremony. They want to have all the sports teams in New York want to do it. All the yeah.
And at the end of the day, man, I'm like, you know what? I'm all for supporting the first firefighters, especially on that day, because they fucking ran up in those towers when we all fucking know it was a goddamn inside fucking job, and they ran up in those fucking towers knowing shit was coming down, and like, you know what I mean? So hats off to them. Fucking, that's what the day should be about, is these brave motherfuckers that did that, But all this military propaganda and all this bullshit, fuck that.
Okay,
I'm tired of it.
Okay, so let's talk about this, dude. So you think it's an inside job, dude?
Dude, come on, man.
Just tell us about it, dude. And then, there's
dude, this whole, all right. Here's my mindset. My mindset is it's an inside job until they come out with some independent investigation saying otherwise, because there's no fucking way, because they found thermite. There's no way the steel.
Wait, they found thermite. They found thermite. Where is this? Is it the documents?
It's in the docs, man. It's in Porkfest, man. The year before Porkfest. Remember that?
No,
you weren't there, bro. You should have been there.
Okay,
they found thermite at Porkfest. What?
No. There was this.
That's all I heard. I was like, oh wow.
No. They found there was thermite found amongst the rubble, like, which is used to basically implode buildings, like to melt steel. I mean, there's no fucking way. Like, basically, there was this MIT.
Do you think there was a thermal detonator used?
No, I mean, it was definitely controlled demolition. I'm sorry, like, there's no fucking way they came down at free fall speed. It's bullshit. Even the day it happened, I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. And Matt, I'm a welder. I'm a machinist. I know a little bit about metal. There's no fucking way. Like, I'm sorry, like steel. And then, no, there's no fucking way. Like, steel melts at like over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Jet fuel burns well below that.
Say it.
Jet fuel doesn't burn.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
It does. Jet fuel
can't melt steel beams.
Jet fuel can't melt tank memes either, dude.
No, but that fucking hillbilly that put out that YouTube video. I'm sorry, like,
hey,
dude.
I'm wondering, has Bill Nye put out a video about jet fuel melting steel beams?
I don't think Bill Nye, the science guy, no, he's too caught up on global warming.
You know what Ron Paul recently put out a video on, right? What? About how taxation is theft.
I just until otherwise, it was an inside job.
All right. Okay. So
there's no fucking way.
Like, okay. So, what are your guys' thoughts? Was it an inside job, Jared?
I don't see the evidence for it.
Okay, Mark.
I haven't looked at the evidence nearly enough on either side to even make some kind of argument either way.
Josh.
I think it's a combination of both.
Well, okay, and then like I'll go in. Like
I think it's something that was just a willful failure of intelligence.
Yeah, well, see, I will go as far as to say that
Negligence?
there was definitely gross negligence involved, and that somebody knew or had a good idea that it was going to happen.
It's a combination
and let
that
it happen.
you're at risk for it. We're at risk for it, and somebody said, "All right, let's do it."
Well, you know.
Yeah, but here's the thing, dude. Nobody was fucking held accountable amongst all those agencies or whatever, even
Not
after
one.
the investigation. Like, I'm sorry, like if that was the case, dude, fucking heads would roll.
Hey,
like after the investigation, it's like, oh,
right.
you're the director of XYZ bureaucracy. Guess
Okay.
what? You're done. Like,
Okay,
you're fine.
so-
You're doing
so-
jail time.
Alexis, let me chime in here, dude.
Throw it
Like,
out there.
I'll say this: I'm being pretty much an agnostic on all things, you know, like until I have proof one way or the other. I will say this: the 9/11 Commission report just had like a bunch of fucking holes in it. So it seems to me that the 9/11 Commission report is a big conspiracy theory.
Well, right. Sure,
Yeah,
that's what
so,
I'm saying.
I mean-
Until there's an independent investigation,
It's like
saying otherwise, to this day, I'm gonna fall on the side that it was an inside job because I don't trust the government investigating itself. I mean, there was more money thrown at like Bill Clinton getting his dick sucked by Monica Lewinsky. You know, like they spent like over $10 million, or I don't know, whatever the dollar figure was. You know, Republicans spent I don't know whatever about like Bill Clinton getting his dick sucked in the Oval Office. Then they did the largest scale terrorist attack in our country's history. Like, I'm fucking sorry. Like, you know, it's fucking the 9/11 Commission report should be in the fucking fiction section of all fucking like, you know, it's fucking bullshit. Like, file this way in the fiction section. It's all bullshit, dude. The whole pancake theory. No, it fucking came down at free fall speed. There's no fucking way that happened. Like, it's bullshit, dude. I saw the shit the day it happened. I'm like, there's no fucking way that shit, you know? When there's evidence of buildings throughout the world that have burned for longer. Like, the one Meridian Plaza in Philadelphia burned for 24 fucking hours, and the building did not collapse.
Oh, so, dude,
24 fucking hours, dude.
Once again, I'm
bullshit,
pretty agnostic on it, but you know,
I'm saying, dude, it's fucking bullshit. Like, there's so much bullshit.
I'm pretty agnostic on it.
When you have engineers that are like, there needs to be another investigation. When you have thousands of engineers, like, I don't know.
But to be fair, it's thousands out of like hundreds of thousands.
Well, possibly, but what I'm getting at is
I mean, well, how many people are apathetic to the whole thing, period, though?
Right,
I mean,
but when there's that many people,
I'm just saying that you can't just say, well, a bunch of engineers
but
said
what I'm
this.
saying, when there's thousands of engineers that are
up?
passionate about it,
Isn't it pretty fucked up that you can call somebody a truther and that term can be like derived as an insult?
You know what's funny though?
But it's only because it's correlated with conspiracy theorists.
Well, I mean, it's somebody looking for the truth. I mean,
but it's 9/11 truthers, and then it got shortened to truthers.
So I mean, so what? You're looking for the truth.
You know what's funny though?
Okay, let's take it off in New York. Listen,
Alex,
right,
settle down for a second, dude. Okay,
right.
So I'm helping you. I feel like I'm helping you out here, dude.
How
A
do you
little
help?
bit. Okay.
All right.
Whereas once again, I'm pretty agnostic on it. You know, another thing I'll say is like the Pentagon, dude. There was like a
Right, that's where I was gonna go with that.
a 22-foot hole, right? I mean, like, there's no place where wings went in and hit the building. There's no rubble of wings on the ground
it was a Tomahawk missile.
where they have came off. I don't know what it was,
It was
but
a Tomahawk missile
all I'm
or
saying
a
is
drone.
all I'm saying is there's no wings. There's just a big round hole. There's no place where wings hit. There's no wings on the ground
Okay,
that were knocked
all right.
off before the explosion.
Okay, so according to the 9/11 Commission report, these Durkas couldn't even fucking land a goddamn Cessna plane. Okay, you're telling me these fucking dickheads that couldn't even couldn't even fly a prop plane. You're telling me these dickheads use box cutters. Okay, let's put it this way. Granted, I was in the Air Force for 8 years. 70% of commercial airline pilots, I don't know what the statistics are today, but post 9/11 or 9/11, like 70% of commercial airline pilots were former military. So you're telling me, okay, some hardened fucking Vietnam era fucking combat pilot, you know, that's flying this fucking plane is going to be like, oh my God, they got box cutters. Oh my God, here's the fucking controls of the plane. I give up, fucking, you know.
So then who flew
I find
the
the
plane?
takeover of the cockpits suspect. I find that right off the bat fucking suspect. I'm sorry. Like, that's fucking bullshit. And then the fact that these motherfuckers couldn't even land a goddamn fucking Cessna plane. That they did a complete 180 degree while descending over Washington fucking D.C. We're not talking podunk fucking hillbilly insert any town in the United States.
Dude,
we're talking
so
DC.
are you saying
We're
holograms,
talking,
dude?
Yeah.
We're talking DC.
Dude, if it
So
was a
these
hologram, it could have been Freddie Mercury.
Right. So these motherfuckers
But they didn't really need to land it per se.
Well, they didn't have to land it, but you're telling me this. They couldn't even fucking fly a goddamn Cessna, and they hijacked the controls of a fucking airliner, and then do 180 degree.
So hold on.
Okay,
hold
so-
on. Calm your tits a little bit.
All right.
So
well,
so then what is your theory then? Who was piloting the plane?
there was no fucking planes.
So it's holograms.
No.
It's CGI.
No. Okay. There might have been 4 planes hijacked, but whatever hit the Pentagon was a goddamn fucking. There's no way
Okay,
it was a plane.
Pentagon aside, what about the Twin Towers? There's several video shots of that from all different angles.
There's a lot of eyewitness reports, and people like you could go on the YouTubes, you could go on the interwebs. No, but you can see there's reports of people like they looked like military planes, they looked like cargo planes, they didn't look like commercial airliners.
But I mean, you can see the
planes-
video.
Yeah, they definitely hit the towers, but I'm just saying it wasn't. Okay, whatever hit the Pentagon was not a goddamn plane. I mean, you see the security videos. There was not a fucking
I think
plane.
he just means the Pentagon, not necessarily the towers,
Yeah,
dude.
the 2 towers, yeah, planes hit them.
Yeah, but then
they didn't bring the 2 planes hitting them did not fucking bring them down. I'm sorry. Like, no.
So what you're saying is, so terrorists did hijack planes, fly them into the Twin Towers, but at the same time, we also had thermite to ensure that they would fall down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, there's more to it. Like, I'm not denying the events that transpired. I'm just saying there's a lot of fucking holes in the story. And until there's an investigation,
Why
like
is it so hard for people? Why is it so hard for people to believe that a government would conspire against its people?
like a false flag?
Why is that such a hard thing to think about?
Yeah,
It's not a hard thing to think about.
No,
It's-
but people can't accept the idea that that's possible. If you say that it was an,
I mean, it is hard to think.
Two
It is hard to think because here would be my.
If you think about it, the most basic idea of a person that's doing that is that they're trying to say no, that's not true at all.
Dude, 2 days before 9/11,
Well,
the Pentagon admitted they lost like $2 trillion or something. It was like a $2 billion or trillion or whatever the fuck. Doesn't matter.
No one believes that they're.
I mean, it would have had to be a very. It would have had to been orchestrated by a very small group of people, working like if it's government or whatever, working outside of intelligence, because like there's no way that you could pull something that off, and nobody finds out about it.
There's a really good documentary called like
I mean, just to
It'll
keep
come
that
to
a
me,
secret, just to keep that a secret without somebody like having a change of heart and being like, we just killed 3,000 people. Like, you can't tell me that unless it was like a clandestine group of like 20 people who just were like convinced that it was
Freemasons.
I'm just saying it would have to be a very
Like-
small
like
group of people,
high level Freemasons.
high level Freemasons.
I mean,
Or just like I just don't see how you could think you could pull something like that off and have no. I mean, Hillary Clinton can't even keep track of her fucking email server, let alone you want to orchestrate this massive conspiracy to murder 3,000 people.
What does C mean?
And
You remember the
have none
question,
of it
right?
ever come back to you aside from these little sort of like detached conspiracy things that nobody can really like put together into a solid coherent theory.
well,
I don't know. It just seems highly improbable. I mean, I do grant you that.
I don't think
that there is
but here's the
evidence.
problem. Everything we're talking about, this is 15 years later. This is what 15 years later. 15 years later, and we're talking about this, and we're trying to have a rational conversation. But yet, what we're talking about right now is fucking fringe. And Jared, you're at least like open to these ideas. But
Yeah, I
the
mean,
vast
dude,
majority of
I
Americans,
was reading about this
15
conspiracy
years
theory
later
like the day
are-
after, like a week after I found myself. This was like in the early days of the internet, and like this was before Loose Change video came out. Like I was reading, and like back then I was like completely convinced.
Oh, me too. Like I went
And I was
down
like,
roads.
dude, like I can't believe like our president, like George Bush, would do this. like I was like freaking out. I was like 11, or I was like 15 years old, and I'm like. But then, like, I don't know, as I kind of got older, I kind of thought about it, and I was like, I'm just not sure that, you know, and then I start seeing conspiracy theories about other things, and you start to realize that a lot of them are ridiculous, and it's very easy to like. There's a lot of confirmation bias that goes into a lot of these so-called like
I disregarded two
investigations.
Towers. What about World Trade Center Tower 7?
You mean the controlled detonation they brought in?
Like, I mean, like
I don't know enough about. I don't know what the argument is for that one. I know that one's kind of weird,
right.
but I don't know enough
they announced
about.
It came down.
I don't know enough about the physics of large buildings and plane crashes.
Tower 7.
Like,
Tower 7.
lot.
They reported on the news that it had come down, like 10 minutes before it actually came down.
But that could have just
like
been
the BBC,
that could have just been a misspeak.
Maybe they controlled.
There was like
maybe
a
they
BBC
controlled the
video
media
of them
too.
reporting live that it came down, and they had the background in the video, and you still see it standing.
Yeah, I heard about that, but they could have been talking about one of the other towers that
No,
fell.
I mean it was clearly they were talking because it was after the two towers came down because they came down later in the afternoon. Like that,
Didn't the BBC predict say something that day too that was controversial?
Well, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Like,
Okay, so the BBC said it came down 10 minutes before.
yeah, like literally like okay, so this like about 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and BBC reported, and you see in the background that Tower 7 is still in the background, and they're like, oh, we've just received reports that Tower 7 just collapsed, and you see it, and like in the videos they circle it, and you see it's like that's Tower 7, like
Yeah.
so clearly that, and then not only that, but it was like I don't know what the fuck the guy's name was, but he was like, oh, we had orders to pull it, like what do you mean pull a fucking like a 50 fucking story building like the day of, like no, like
We
you don't just
pull it. What do you mean?
well they meant like demolish it. How the fuck do you do that? One day you can't. There's no fuck. Like, so that building was set up like that. That building clearly came down with controlled demolition.
Was anybody in that building?
Well,
Or they had evacuated it?
I guess so. Yeah, or but it came down, and I mean, I don't know. This might come off like too Alex Jones, but no, it's like until these questions are answered, I'm always going to be skeptical of the events that happened that day because it just makes no fucking sense. The story that's the mainstream story is there's just in my eyes too much fucking bullshit, and until there's an actual like independent investigation or
there's an invitation to jump to conclusions.
Well, no, I mean, granted, I love that game, the jump to conclusions map, but I'm just saying,
Isn't
like,
it a mat?
Yeah, it's like a map.
It's
You
a
can
mat,
jump
dude.
to
It's a mat.
conclusions.
It's a mat with a T.
A mat with a T.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Bergman.
And different outcomes. You jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
Dude, that's gonna make a lot of money, just like the Pet Rock. It's gonna make a lot of money. You're onto something.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm just saying. Back to 9/11. I just think, to this day, it's bullshit, and it's all bullshit.
Word. Well, what's definitely not bullshit is, we can see how the government used 9/11 to increase, military spending, to increase spying on people, to increase molesting people at the airport.
Exactly.
And just the general...
Justify the Iraq war.
Yeah, exactly.
In general,
And then-
line the
and
pockets,
occupation
line
of
the pockets of the
Afghanistan.
military-industrial complex.
just
And
it's
all
a
different
complete
weapon systems.
erosion of civil liberty.
Yeah, and the militarization of
blatantly eroding
police, like all these toys and all these like tanks and Humvees and everything that went over to Iraq are now like being auctioned off to your local police departments that are going to be used on the streets.
They're not even auctioned. They're selling them at
They're
discount.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's like exactly.
Why does a police officer need a tank?
Right. So, it just furthered the militarization and furthered this, the military-industrial complex. So
I love the meme where it's like, we don't need military grade weapons in our streets. It's like Obama saying that, and he's talking about like, ARs or whatever.
Yeah.
And then below it's just like all these pictures of fucking like police military vehicles and shit.
Right.
Yep.
You're just like, shut the fuck up, you asshole.
like sheriff department of like podunk fucking town in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
You got, like
He's got a
up
Humvee.
armored like multiple up armored Humvees with like tank like on the fucking
50
turret
caliber-
with a 50
caliber
top. Like, it's like, yeah, we're gonna take out those meth labs. Like
Yeah.
fucking insane.
It's
But
ridiculous.
thus is America post 9/11. We're a bunch of fearful fucking bitches. But anyways,
Word. America, fuck yeah.
America.
Yeah, so guys, I think that's about it for this week.
I think you wanted to plug some T-shirts, Matt.
Oh, and not just yet. Yeah. So in case you haven't noticed yet, we finally have Punk Rock Libertarians T-shirts, and we've posted links for those on our Facebook page. So come check them out and pick one up.
Yeah, you can find them at libertariancountry.com.
Yeah, or we'll have a link pinned to the top of our
we'll have a
Facebook
link
page.
too.
And they've got a bunch of other cool Liberty T-shirts while you're there. So until next time, live free
Or die.
Statism's footprint is the blood that is shed, drenching the flags of the tax bombs in red. Wasn't by a few at the expense of the many, sold to the gods and the death machine. You can't justify killing by economic gain. For God, country, and democracy, you can put freedom and gunpoint in a foreign land. You support the troops, then bring them home. I believe that you will do the best for you. And I believe that we have the power, I hate the state, and I know I'm a slave. We can make the break the power. Society owes individuals nothing more than non-interference with natural rights. Once a virtuous person fully comprehends the non-aggression principle, the violence in the state becomes obsolete.